These drones give troopers a bird's eye view. It's a process where plastic meets the Earth's structure.
The Museum of Glass is recreating that journey, and I have with me again Eric. The Five insist the video was taken out of context. They say the roast was meant to make fun of racists, sexists, and bigots as opposed to condoning those views.
Brittany, thank you so much for being here. Now, he's confessed to 2 kidnapping cold cases, right?
Kevin Schaus was arrested for sexually assaulting a 4-year-old.
Police say another person on scene assisted Jimenez while Boeheim used his cell phone flashlight to warn other drivers. Oh man, you look amazing. I see you got the scarf, the hat going on. A lot of beads there. Mind if I get a bead? You know, let's share the love. There you go. All right, all right. That's right. Okay, Camille, now I'm official. This ice where I'm standing is about 6 feet above the shoreline. As you can see, water came ashore, hitting all the way up into the trees and freezing branches. I've seen it worn many ways, but the proper way to wear a seatbelt is to make sure that it goes across your chest and across your lap, not your stomach. This right here is one of 2 signs that was vandalized this week. It appears to have what looks like a communist symbol spray painted on Quante Wright's face. Here in the north side of Syracuse, let me show you here, we have cracks down in the cement as a result of this water main break. The information already found will help visitors see him as not just a mummy, but a person. Picture the 1930s. Syracuse is a transportation hub. It was a busy weekend for Democrats, at least for those running or thinking of running for president. The trial for a Utica woman accused of fatally stabbing her mother is scheduled to start next week. It's been a long time since the days of Blockbuster Video. In fact, with just one of the chain stores remaining in the entire country, if you're heading downtown near the On Center, you want to be mindful that State Street at Adams Street and Harrison Street is closed, but
I could go minute by minute. I know every single thing.
There are memories you want to hold dear, some you want to forget. For the now 19-year-old Brittany Fish, there are memories that just won't go away.
I know the way he looked at me, the way every word that he said to me, the songs that were playing in the car.
April 24, 2004, a massive search was underway after then 5-year-old Brittany Fish disappeared. The only trace left behind, her scooter, found in a storm drain on her North Side neighborhood in Syracuse.
We waited all night that night, and my brother was like pounding the walls and just it was very traumatic and chaotic.
It's not too often when you have a child that's missing with no evidence of anything. Just disappears off the face of the earth. It's like she vanished.
Earlier that day, Brittany was riding her scooter to a friend's house just a few blocks from her home.
There's a 4-way intersection, 4-way stop sign, and I stopped at the stop sign and I saw a white car approach me, and I figured he was just stopping at the stop sign and he was going to keep going on his way.
But he didn't.
He ended up getting out of his car and going to the back of the trunk, and he said he was looking for a butterfly catcher.
Nothing could have prepared Brittany for what happened next.
The next second, he had his arms around my mouth and he pushed me into the back of his car.
What was going through your mind, at that time?
I think it all just hit me. I think, just shock at first. I couldn't do anything but scream and cry. And then he told me to get lower into the floorboard of the car so nobody could see me.
Brittany kept crying and screaming until
he threw his car into park and put a gun to my head and said, you better stop crying before I shoot you, and pulled the trigger. I was thinking more of my life than to be found at that point, because I was like, if I don't cry, then I have more of a chance, because if not, then he could pull the trigger.
What was the voice of Kevin like?
The only thing I can think of is the demon. It was just deep, and the things he said to me didn't help. They were disgusting things that he was saying.
Hours later, Brittany's abductor dropped her off at a vacant building in DeWitt. He'd bound her hands and feet and wrapped duct tape around her head, covering her eyes, nose, and mouth.
He told me to lay on the ground underneath the tarp, and that he said he had to run to the bank and he was gonna stop and get me McDonald's because he thought I was hungry.
For hours, Brittani laid under that tarp in the blustery cold.
The whole 23 hours underneath that tarp, it was a mixture between crying, screaming, throwing my body around. I had to keep urinating to keep myself warm. I knew I was in the back of somewhere, but I didn't know if it was going to be accessible to somebody to hear me. That's why I didn't lose hope. I didn't stop.
Loud music. That's why Syracuse police pulled over 23-year-old Shaolin Moore Friday. Police say they just wrapped up a drugs and weapons investigation near Skiddy Park and noticed Moore playing his music loudly in violation of the city's noise code. They pulled him over, but the traffic stop quickly escalated.
Why he doing all that?
The passenger in the car recorded the incident.
Yo, why you punching my man?
There's definitely some disconcerting images in the video, but I'd also be hesitant to comment too authoritatively. The video starts just before the incident occurs, so it's hard to know the context of the situation.
According to court documents, the officers say Moore disobeyed multiple requests to get out of his car and was resisting arrest. The arresting officer also claims that he feared Moore may be concealing a weapon. Syracuse Police Chief Kenton Buckner said the incident was reported immediately and an investigation began before the video was posted online. In a statement, he said, "I recognize the concerns that have been raised by the community, and I want to assure the community that under department protocol, when officers use force, including this time, we complete a thorough investigation."
We also spoke with Moore's lawyers who said they are aware that the chief takes these matters seriously, and they said this will be a good test as to how the chief will respond. But their big question is, how did a stop for a noise violation escalate rapidly to a physical altercation? This is their new norm.
We've actually packed the car several times to self-evacuate ourselves.
I get up, I come over, I check the pump.
Then we look at the water level in the basement, and if it gets high enough, we start turning off electric circuits that may be too low, and we run pumps continuously.
From sunup to sundown.
The pumps have been running since 6 o'clock last night. We manned them all night long to try to keep the water out of the shop, and we have failed.
Defeat brought on by floodwaters from Lake Ontario, a problem residents at Greenpoint Marina say the International Joint Commission needs to address.
I would like somebody from the IJC to come out here, talk to us, walk a day in my shoes or boots, and see what it's like to be flooded and constantly surrounded by water every day and not have a business.
The IJC met Friday to discuss Plan 2014, which many believe is causing the high water. Their hope is some kind of solution.
I hope the IGC decides that they change the plan and they do a better job at the adaptive management protocols. Clearly, I think it's their responsibility to manage the water levels, and I think they failed in that mission.
And the other big concern are the dunes. They're already starting to go away, and once they're gone, this whole area will be exposed.
It's just simple. You got to fix this. This is disastrous to lives and livelihood. The businesses here on the eastern shore of Lake Ontario are just being crippled by this.
A plea to return to the old norm. From Greenpoint Marina, Brittani Moncrease, Spectrum News.